Okay, let's unpack this. We are the Gambling Databases Research Team.
And our goal is pretty simple.
We deliver in-depth analyses of the global iGaming landscape. We want to give you a clear, data-driven look at how the industry actually works in each market.
What makes it unique and where the real opportunities and, the pitfalls really lie.
Today, we're focusing on Italy. And on paper, it looks like a staggering opportunity.
It really does. You've got this mature, highly regulated market. Everything is fully legalized.
Sports betting, online casinos, all of it.
All of it. And the numbers, well, they speak for themselves. A population of 60 million and internet penetration is soaring. It's over 82%.
Absolutely. Our sources project the Italian market generated something like $1.8 billion in 2024. But here's the stat that really grabbed us.
The ARPU.
Exactly. The average revenue per user. It clocks in at a hefty 420.
420. That is a highly valuable player base.
It is, and that creates our central tension for today, doesn't it?
It does. Italy is undeniably lucrative, but the regulatory environment, which is overseen by the ADM, that's the Agenzia delle Dogane e dei Monopoli,
Right.
it acts like a massive medieval moat. It's designed to keep things stable, sure, but the side effect is that market entry is incredibly challenging for anyone but the biggest, best capitalized operators.
So we're going to walk you through that tension today. First, we'll examine that regulatory fortress the ADM has built.
From the technical mandates to, of course, the infamous advertising ban.
Then, we'll dive into the profile of that valuable Italian player, who they are, what they're playing.
And finally, the reality check. Is this market actually profitable for a new company trying to get in?
Let's start with that fortress, the ADM framework. Italy has around 150 licensed online operators, so the market isn't totally closed off.
No, it's not closed, but getting and keeping that license is a huge bureaucratic undertaking.
A marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly. The process is transparent, which is good, but you're looking at 6 to 12 months, typically.
And the fees?
The initial application fee is $50,000 with a $20,000 annual renewal. But honestly, those fees, they're not the real barrier. No, they're just the tip of the iceberg. You have to show serious financial solvency, build a robust infrastructure, all before the ADM even glances at your paperwork.
And the regulatory demands in Italy go far beyond just money. We've seen compliance rules everywhere, but Italy has one specific technical mandate that, frankly, stops almost everyone in their tracks.
You're talking about the SOGI platform integration.
Yes. What is that exactly?
It's fascinating. Operators are mandated to connect their servers directly to the ADM.
And this isn't just for, like, a report at the end of the month.
No. This is for real-time transaction monitoring by the state. Every single bet, every win, every loss has to flow through the SOGI system.
Okay, wait, let's pause on that, because this is where it gets really interesting for the technical teams out there.
It is.
You're saying an operator's entire ability to do business depends on the stability of a government platform.
Precisely. And this creates a critical and pretty unique operational risk. If the state server goes down for maintenance or there's an outage,
The operator can't take bets.
they're entirely shut off. Just
Oh.
imagine that happening during a big Champions League match or high-volume weekend.
That's a huge single point of failure risk. It puts this immense operational burden on the licensee.
It really separates Italy from almost every other major regulated market in the EU.
So we've got a long licensing process, high solvency requirements, and this unique mandatory technical dependency on the state. Now let's add the financial squeeze.
The taxes. This is where the potential for any kind of decent margin just vanishes.
So what are we looking at?
Well, first, there's the GGR tax, gross gaming revenue. It's 22% on online casino and sports betting.
Which is high, but maybe manageable?
Maybe, but then you have to stack the corporate taxes on top of that.
Tell us what those look like.
You've got the standard corporate tax, that's IRES, at 24%. And then the regional production tax, IRP, which averages around 3.9%.
So you're paying 22% GGR, and then what, almost 28% in additional corporate taxes on whatever is left over?
The combined effect pushes the effective tax rate on your profits close to 45, maybe even 50%.
45 to 50%.
Yeah.
Is that normal compared to other European countries? Because that sounds like a massive headwind before you've even paid a single salary.
It's severely challenging. It's not totally unheard of globally, but it puts immense pressure on profitability. It means you need absolute operational efficiency, and critically, you need immense volume.
It favors the giants.
Completely. It crushes any smaller, innovative startups, while the established brands with scale can make those wafer-thin margins work.
And this brings us to what might be the single biggest barrier to entry. Bigger than the taxes, bigger than SOGI.
The decree dignity.
The 2019 regulatory change that created this black hole where marketing used to be.
The near-total advertising ban is revolutionary in its scope. No TV, no radio, no internet ads.
And no sports sponsorships.
And that's the crucial part. In a sports-mad country like Italy, taking away sponsorships as an acquisition channel just fundamentally changes the game.
So let's be clear about what that means. If you're a new company and you can't run mass media campaigns, how do you even find those high-value players we talked about?
You're forced into these extremely high-cost channels. You have to lean on things like labor-intensive SEO, content marketing, or these sort of gray area affiliate sites.
Which carry their own regulatory risks.
A massive risk. And all of this just completely inflates your customer acquisition costs.
And the numbers we're seeing for that inflation are staggering. Our sources say the CAC, the customer acquisition cost, often exceeds 300.
And can go as high as 500.
Let's just step back and look at that number. You are paying up to 500 euro to acquire one player.
A player whose average revenue per user is 420 over a whole year.
That math just doesn't work. It creates a razor-thin margin and makes immediate profitability a total pipe dream.
It's the ultimate competitive advantage for the incumbents, isn't it?
How so?
They built their databases before 2019, when marketing was cheap and easy. Now, any new entrant has to spend a year's worth of a customer's value just to get them in the door. It guarantees the big brands keep their dominance.
And what if you try to get around that ban?
The penalties are severe. Fines start at 50,000 euros. And the liability doesn't just stop with the operator.
It extends to affiliates and media owners.
Yes, anyone who carries the ad. It's a very serious restriction that ensures compliance through financial terror.
Okay, so the barrier to entry is almost absolute, but let's assume you managed to get over that wall. What kind of player are you fighting for? Let's look at the valuable Italian player profile.
It's an interesting demographic. Italy has a high median age, around 47 years. It's one of Europe's older populations.
That doesn't mean they're not online.
Not at all. Digital literacy is exceptionally high. Over 80% of adults are proficient online. And mobile penetration is, get this, 135%.
135%. So lots of people with multiple devices.
Exactly. They're an experienced, engaged digital consumer base.
And that 420 ARPU, given the median age, what are they actually playing?
Well, the older demographic probably explains the high lottery participation. That's a massive vertical in Italy.
But sports betting still leads.
It does. Sports betting dominates participation, about 5.3% of adults. Then you have lotteries at 4.1%, and then online casino games at 3.2%.
And behaviorally.
They are distinctly mobile first, and their peak activity is exactly when you'd expect, evening hours, and of course during major sports events.
One of the attractive things for players, and really a sign of a mature, successful market, is the consumer protection. What does that look like in Italy?
It's incredibly robust, and that builds long-term trust. The first big benefit for the player is they generally aren't taxed on winnings.
The operator handles that.
Yes, the operator handles all the tax withholding upfront. It simplifies the customer experience a lot. Second, the KYC is very strict.
KYC being know your customer.
Right. You have to provide ID and proof of residence within 30 days of signing up, or your account gets suspended.
That 30-day rule must cause some drop-off for operators, but I guess it does maintain market integrity.
Precisely. And beyond that, you have mandatory self-exclusion programs and automated deposit and loss limits that the player has to set themselves.
The ADM is really focused on responsible gambling.
Very much so. It benefits the player, and it stabilizes the market for the long haul.
Let's talk about payments, because this is where we see some interesting cultural preferences. Are Italians just using their credit cards?
Not entirely. Payment diversification is absolutely key, and it reveals a cautious consumer. Cards still lead. That's about 58% of transactions.
But e-wallets are growing.
They are. PayPal and Skrill are up to 12%. But the real outlier is the massive popularity of prepaid cards, specifically postpay.
Why is there such a strong preference for something like postpay? The KYC rules are already so strict. The state knows who you are.
That's the deeper insight, isn't it? It reflects a cultural caution around digital finance. And, sometimes a historical reluctance to link recreational spending directly to a primary bank account.
So it's not about hiding from the government.
No, not at all. It's more about security, budgeting, and privacy from banks and credit agencies. It shows a consumer base that's highly responsible, but also financially conservative.
Which makes that 420 ARPU even more impressive because they're actively managing their spending.
It does.
Okay, so what does this all mean? We have this affluent, engaged, responsible, high-value consumer base, but the regulatory gate is just extremely difficult to get through.
And that takes us to our reality check.
The operational demands, even for foreign companies.
Right. There's no mandatory physical office, but you have to use Italian payment gateways, provide Italian language customer support, and make sure all your data storage is rigorously compliant with EU GDPR.
And the enforcement for those who try to operate without a license. It must be a major deterrent.
It cannot be overstated. Italy is arguably the most aggressive enforcer in Europe.
How so?
The ADM keeps a blacklist that's updated constantly. ISP blocking of unlicensed sites is aggressive and it's highly effective. And maybe more importantly, Italian banks and payment processors face severe penalties if they process transactions for unlicensed sites.
Which cuts off the money.
Functionally, yes, it cuts off the revenue stream.
And we're not just talking about getting your website blocked.
No. Operating without an ADM license is a criminal offense under Italian law. We're talking about Law 4001-1989. It's punishable by imprisonment and asset seizure.
And that risk is global, right?
That's the critical detail people miss. The criminal liability risk is global. Italy has active extradition treaties with the US, the UK, Canada, Australia, all EU member states. If you target Italian customers illegally, you face real cross-border criminal liability.
A crucial warning for anyone thinking of testing the waters.
Yep.
So that brings us to the final assessment from the gambling databases team. Based on this very volatile mix of high value and high hurdles, what's the final verdict?
We apply our two-tiered country rating. For the player access score, Italy gets an excellent 9.3 out of 10.
And why so high?
Because for the consumer, the market is safe, it's fully regulated, the competition keeps the quality high, and players benefit hugely from not being taxed on winnings. It's an ideal environment for the player.
But the business side tells a very different story. The operator ease score is a moderate, almost poor 5.3 out of 10.
And that score is really the sum of everything we've discussed. It reflects that crippling combination of a 45–50% effective tax rate, the strict compliance, the SOGI integration risk, and above all, that near insurmountable advertising ban.
So the bottom line for any new company trying to get in?
It's a brutal volume game. The thin margins only work if you achieve massive scale almost immediately.
How long to break even?
Our analysis shows it's typically 24 to 36 months, and that's for a well-funded operation. Entry is explicitly not recommended for startups without massive capital.
How massive are we talking?
When you look at the compliance overhead and that CAC of 300 to 500 euro, we assess that new entrants need at least 3 to 5 million in dedicated funding. And that's just to sustain operations while you wait to get a foothold without mass advertising.
So Italy is the definition of a pay-to-play market designed to protect its incumbents.
It is.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, Italy is a fascinating model. It's stable, it's safe for consumers, which is great for longevity.
But by taxing new companies so heavily and banning mass marketing, it inherently prioritizes the long-established incumbents over any kind of innovation. And that raises a really important question for the future.
Which is?
What happens next? Despite that regulatory moat, Italy isn't sitting still technologically. The country is advancing quickly in 5G deployment, covering roughly 60% of the population as of 2025.
Okay.
So with mass media advertising banned, how might the rapid rollout of high-speed, low-latency mobile services open up new, creative, maybe more technical acquisition channels? Things like localized interactive content or mobile gaming integrations, channels the established operators haven't really been forced to leverage yet.
That's definitely something to mull over as the market evolves.
For the full text of this and all our other country reports, which detail local regulations, taxation, player experience, and operator conditions, you can visit our website.
That's gamblingdatabases.com.